Yo, welcome to Hot Takes with Cheddar Chats, but there's no hand holding. We do with facts, not emotion. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification if you haven't already. I appreciate all you guys for watching and sticking with us through this roller coaster of a season. It's been very rough, but that's why the dog Cheddar Chats here to talk about it. Listen, this team should not be this bad on paper. This team should not be this bad on paper because if you look at it, you have, in my opinion, the top 10 offensive center, top 25 player in Brandon Ingram, maybe a top 50 in CJ McCollum. You have several first round picks, several lottery picks, as a matter of fact. And you have what people believe to be a good coach in Willie Green, right? Now, let me just say, when I say this team shouldn't be this bad, in my opinion, I'm basing my opinion off what you guys have told me or what people have said to me as it pertains to Brandon's talent level, CJ's talent level, Jonas's talent level, Willie Green's talent level, Dyson Daniels' talent level. This is what people have told me. People have said to me, these guys are this good. Never have I thought they were, very good. All that being said, what's the problem here? Why is this team failing? And I think our expectations, and I'm going to say our expectations are and have been too high for this team. In my opinion, I don't believe Brandon is a high caliber star type player. I believe Brandon is maybe a lower tier B tier type of guy. I believe Brandon can be the third best player on a good team, a winning team. He's approaching year 8? Next year's going to be year 8. And he hasn't been on a winning team to this point in his career. I believe CJ, in his prime, was a really solid co-star for a team that's looking to make the playoffs. But I also know how great Damian Lillard was and is, to the point where he's able to just carry an entire team on his back, especially in his prime. And I think that's what you saw with Zion. You saw a guy who was so great, he was able to carry this team, this poor roster on his back. And, to be frank with you, he did it without Brandon. I think Brandon is a huge hindrance on Zion. I truly believe that. I think the brand of basketball Brandon plays and the brand of basketball CJ plays doesn't really mesh well with, ways you maximize Zion or even ways you maximize Jonas. I think Brandon, his lack of three-point shooting, his lack of an explosive first step makes it very difficult for him to score effectively from night to night. That's why you don't see those consistent 40-point explosions, 35-plus point explosions. You don't see that consistently because Brandon has such a slow first step. It's not a 3-level score, in my opinion. And his passing, I think his passing is excellent most nights. It's just, at a certain point, you have to be able to take over a game, kind of similar to what he did in Portland. To his credit, great game in Portland. Laid an egg against Golden State, which had just some unforgivable plays, and laid another egg against Sacramento and Brandon played some of the worst defense I think I've ever seen in the NBA against Sacramento, and that's just terrible for a guy you're counting on to be your number 2 best player. I truly think Brandon is a Drew Holiday type player, not this current Drew Holiday. I think this current Drew Holiday is probably better than Brandon. But when Drew Holiday was with the Pelicans, I think Brandon's a Drew Holiday tier player. Third best player on the team, third best player on a good team, championship team. I think CJ McCollum is a 6th man at this point in his career. I thought he was a 6th man approaching, this season. In the hand injury, I don't know how significant it is, but if it's something that requires surgery, prayers to him. I hope he makes it through that. But ultimately, from the business aspect of things, I think CJ's starting at the 1 is just awful. It's just god awful. You see you see the need for a point guard on this team, and it's glaring. It's really glaring. Jonas isn't a fit necessarily. And it's just the sum of your parts don't mesh. You've seen Zion be able to carry this team to victories minus Brandon, even minus CJ McCollum some nights. And it wasn't till CJ came back that things started to look a little funny. Whereas it's like, all right, why are we not moving the ball no more? Why are we not doing this? Why are we dribbling the ball into the ground? Okay, because CJ's back. when Brandon returned, of course Zion was out, and Brandon was coming off an extended injury absence. But when he came back, you're like, where did the effort go? Like when you look at that team that played Denver prior to Brandon returning, and in a couple other games where it was real close up until the end, and they just lost like last few seconds. When Brandon came back, you don't necessarily see a team that plays hard all the time. It's more of a methodical, lackadaisical, type of, brand of basketball. It's real slow. It's real, mistake heavy. And nothing worse than watching a car crash in slow motion. Like, at least if you try to make a full court pass and go out of bounds, you'll be like, damn, all right, it's over with already. But nothing's worse than watching a guy dribble the ball 20 seconds, then throw a crazy pass to a non-shooter in the corner who bricks the pass. The rebound goes to the opposing team. They run down and hit a big 3-point shot, and that's a 6-point swing. It's the worst stuff to watch. It's a terrible brand of basketball. I think, regardless of what happens at the end of this season, I feel like these two guys have had the opportunity to prove themselves in Zion's absence. And it's sad that Zion is greater in his absence than he was in his presence, because you're like, damn, how was Zion even able to win 7 games in a row? How was he even able to do that with his, as bad as these guys are playing? Some guys are ceiling raisers, some guys are floor raisers. And I think what the Pelicans have on this roster is a couple of guys who are floor raisers. And, sadly, that may not be enough. I mean, it might be enough to get you into the play-in this year, but I don't necessarily know how much credit you really give guys when you're supposed to be a top 6 team. I think the play-in this year is a massive disappointment, and I don't think injuries are an excuse for that. I think there's no excuse, because on paper and by salary, this team should not be this bad. It should not be this bad at all. A message from our sponsors.
This podcast is sponsored by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Krewe Media, located at 918 Porter Street by the Superdome. Give them a call at 504-523-5413 if you or someone you know has been involved in an accident, and be sure to mention we sent you. Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Krewe Media.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily advocating for moving anyone this offseason, but I do think that I just don't think that in the event of Zion having another extended injury, which seems, inevitable at this point, right? In the event of Zion having another extended injury, you know now that you're not just a center away, a defensive big away. You're not that. You're not just a shooter away. You're not a Mikal Bridges away. No, you are a star away from being a competent team when Zion is out. I'm talking about even with Brandon on the roster, even with CJ on the roster, even with JV, all those guys together, you're still a star away from being a competent basketball team night in and night out. The Pelicans are approaching a very soft part of the schedule. They should win all of those games. They have to win all of those games at this point. And if they don't, I mean, it's just confirming what, some of us already know, is that, this team just doesn't have any other stars aside from Zion. They have popular players, but they don't have stars. Another message from our sponsors. Ready for the underdogs, the upsets, and the unbelievable action at DraftKings Sportsbook? The biggest tournament in college basketball is here. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on college hoops and get $200 in bonus bets. Plus, for a limited time, all customers can score a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. Go to the app, opt in, and place a no-sweat bet this weekend. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code BOOT, B-O-O-T. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. That's B-O-O-T. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. So that's been today's show, y'all. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I ain't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to offend nobody, but the truth is the truth. This team has one star. That star is Zion Williamson. This team isn't going anywhere without Zion Williamson. We saw it last year. The team won 36 games. We made it to the play-in via a fluke. You know what I'm saying? Via a fluke. This year, can we do it again? It's possible. It's possible, but this is a star-driven league, and it's very, very difficult to win without stars, and that's why the Pelicans haven't been winning. So, again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all next game. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we can get a dub. And I'm out.